On this episode of the InsurTech Geek podcast, we explore technology leadership, AI adoption, and the future of mutual insurance with Vineet Bansal, Chief Information and Technology Officer at the Mutual Group.
The InsurTech Geek podcast is all about technology that's transforming and disrupting the insurance world. We'll be interviewing guests and doing deep dives into specific tech we see changing the industry. We're taking you on a journey through insurance tech. So enjoy the ride and geek out. Terra. This week's episode sponsor is revolutionizing the world of workers' compensation claims and policy management. Terra's cutting-edge platform empowers insurers with comprehensive benchmarking tools, robust management systems, and an integrated ancillary services marketplace. Discover how Terra is driving innovation and efficiency in workers' comp at terra.insure.
And we are back with another great episode of the InsurTech Geek podcast. I am your InsurTech Geek, James Benham. With me, my illustrious co-host, the most interesting man in insurance, Mr. Rob Galbraith. Rob, how are you doing today in beautiful San Antonio, Texas?
Doing well, James. Yeah, it is beautiful. We thankfully started to get some of the spring temps for us, the summer temperatures for many parts of the world. And I got a special package this morning in the mail. And for those of you that are only listening, I'm holding up on camera the newly minted Mongolian edition of the End of Insurance as we know it.
Wow. I mean, Mongolia's got a pretty decent sized population. So, why not, right?
They do. And there's several folks over there. So I won't name, but Nomax Publishing is the company that finally did it together. When my book first came out in 2019, they reached out that year and they wanted to do it, and we were hoping to get it done in a year, and it's been quite a journey on their end, but it finally can. I'd give it up. I hope. I kind of thought it wouldn't be pulled together, but yeah, I got a notice early last fall that it was happening, and my copy finally arrived in the mail.
I need to talk to and see if ChatGPT or Gemini can translate my book into Mongolian. That'd be fun. That's exciting. Well, now 3.5 million people can unlock their brains on the future of insurance or the end of insurance as we know it, right? That's great. And with us, Vineet from the Wintry Wilds, not nearly as Wintry Wilds as 2 weeks ago, of Westchester County up in New York. How are you doing, Vineet?
I'm doing great, James. Hi, everyone. Rob, I wish I could say it's a springy weather. It's not, but I'm in New York and we are just recovering from the snow and cold we saw over the past few weeks, and we are still there. So, James, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. I was, as I mentioned in our pre-show, Vineet, I was just in your neck of the woods in Manhattan and down in kind of Times Square and then South Central Park and then down to Greenwich Village, visiting my daughter a couple weeks ago. So I got to experience -7 degree temperatures. It was painful, brutal, and at one point I thought my face was going to fall off, and that was a really special feeling. So I do, the problem with me in Texas, I love Texas, is that when the weather is the most beautiful, I am the most miserable because it's when all the plants pollinate and I get severe allergies, which is why if you're listening, no, I don't have a cold. I have cedar allergies and the cedars are popping. So with that, let's kind of jump into our conversation. It's always good to chat about insurance and InsurTech geeks and fellow technology nerds, but also it's just great to talk about the people that are involved in this industry because this is a people business. Even as we talk about AI and we all leverage the hell out of AI, at the end of the day, it's people making decisions and it's still a lot of relationships factor into risk decisions. And so I love diving into the background of people. Vineet, you've got a great background. It looks like you were born and raised in India and then went to your undergrad there. Tell me about your childhood. Where'd you grow up? And what did you dream of being when you were a kid?
So, James, when I was growing up, and that was in northern India, near New Delhi, I'm from a town called Agra, known to people for Taj Mahal. It's a beautiful monument. I grew up, did my schooling there, and then I left to do my engineering in southern India, several thousand kilometers or miles away from my home. I'd say when I was growing up, I did not dream to be where I am today. I wanted to be part of my father's business. So we are from a business family. I can help grow his business. I actually started to do it when I was in my high school. But then my love for engineering took me to Nagpur in southern India. I did my engineering over there. It was fascinating. I had a really good experience. I could actually step out from the bounds of my family to look into things that were newer to me. And I decided to then do my MBA after I did my engineering. But my 4 years in Nagpur were very special. And that actually framed a lot of my persona that I have today. And I'm very thankful that I did it.
So what was your dad's business?
So my dad is in manufacturing. We were producing equipments that are used for farming. As you know, India is a major farming country. So my dad was building equipments like, threshers and cultivators and things that farmers use to cultivate the crop. Really good business, business that he was running, and his father started 40, 50 years back. But that would have kept me in the town, in the community. However, coming out of Agra, going to Nagpur, doing my engineering, and then everything that came after that has definitely given me much broader perspective.
I think a lot of Americans don't think about the ag business in India. And of course, India is a third of the land area of the U.S., and it has a lot more people. So its population density is 12 times more densely populated than the U.S., but there's still a ton of land because of how densely populated the cities are. Tons of lands for farming. And of course, some major Indian farming brands exist over here, like Mahindra, right?
Yep. And you're right. So population density is roughly 16. Even though India has more land mass, the concentration is in fewer places. Like even in US, we see East Coast populated, West Coast populated, and then all, Central America may not be as densely populated. India has the same thing. The city, Mumbai, that is the most populated city, or it's call it a full state of Texas, if you want to call it that way. There, the population density is roughly 35 times the density in US.
Wow. That's wild. So what made you, when you ended up going into technology, you fell in love with engineering, and then you go to work for one of the largest technology consultancies in the world, Tata. So what was the path there?
Yes. So when I joined engineering, I actually went there to do electronics and electrical engineering. That's the year when computers were starting to be a conversation, a discussion. Visual Basic was the language that we were talking about. And it's not long back, but that's what we were doing. When I was going from my first year into my second year is when I did a switch. I could see that computers are becoming more of the conversation than how the electrical circuits are working. So I kind of slowly shifted towards computers, though I stayed in my love with electronics, microprocessing. And then by the time I graduated, I was more thinking about your technology transformation in computer science. So I'd say again, it was being at the right place at the right time that I chose to shift towards computer science. But most importantly, I don't think the type of engineering makes a big difference. It's engineering itself. It helps you think analytically. It helps you do problem solving. It helps you find many ways to figure out a problem. So what I learned through my engineering did make me a very different person that allowed me to then pursue computer science even further in my graduation.
That's amazing. So you then went into consulting and then Ramco, but then you landed in financial services, and you were in financial services for quite some time. You built a really great career across financial services and then into insurance, private equity-backed organizations. How did you find your way into insurance, and what's really kept you there now over time?
Great question. And I'll share a little bit of story when I came to US. I said I came through a consulting company, Ramco Systems, working on civil CRM solutions. I was here to work for a bank that was based out of World Trade Center. My first day of work was going to be the day of 9/11.
Jeez.
I came just a little bit before that. I did come to New York City on 9/10, a day before, for the first time, just to check out everything. And that didn't happen. And I feel really sad about what happened that day. Fortunately, I was not in the city when the events were unfolding, as I was supposed to go there a few hours later. But then I was able to pivot and had an offer to join as a consultant in a pharmaceutical company in West Coast. While I also have an option to work for a company, again as a contractor in Boston. But when I went to their website, I saw that they are in the business of 401 bracket K.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what that business is until somebody I was talking to said, "Hey, are you talking about Fidelity Investments?" I said, "Yeah, Fidelity is some." They said they are the biggest UK provider, the retirement services. So I was actually into civil CRM. I was not that much functionally business-minded, but based on some advice, I did go to Fidelity. That's where I started in financial services in the world of CRM. But I had really good opportunity to work across many different Fidelity companies while we were implementing CRM across different Fidelity business lines. It was fascinating to learn different businesses. It was fascinating to see how Fidelity brokerage works, different than Fidelity asset management to Fidelity, national financials. And that actually started to mold me more into being a techno-functional consultant. So I went from being a civil architect to being a techno-functional architect. I still remember in my first 5 years, I interfaced with roughly 10 different Fidelity companies. And then further got deeper into insurance, which was through Fidelity Life Insurance Company. That's where I got exposed to annuities and life insurance roughly 20 years back.
Awesome. And, I fell into insurance and ended up falling in love with it over time. Rob, what you got?
Yeah, so Vineet, I'd love to fast forward to where you are today with the Mutual Group. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the company, because I think what you're doing is very unique there.
Yes, so Mutual Group is absolutely a remarkable business model that is there to help mutual insurance companies. So as I was talking about me getting into insurance, I think the intellectual depth of insurance and the impact that it can make is what kept me in insurance. As you say, it sits at the intersection of risk on one side, regulation on the other side, unit economics, and human behavior. So when I think of all of these and bring it to the Mutual Group is there to help mutual insurance companies that are very close to the policyholders. They're more community-based, smaller organizations. And I'm not talking about the likes of Liberty Mutual or Mass Mutual. They're large entities. Vast majority of mutuals are mid-size companies based out of few states with few product lines. So my experience moving from different lines of businesses, from life insurance to specialty to commercial, all of that bringing together in the Mutual Group, we are on the journey to help mutual companies operate from a business operations perspective. The whole Mutual Group mantra is to help mutual companies with operational excellence, with surplus needs, with insurance expertise. And we have GuideOne Insurance as a current member that we are working with.
Yeah, but you mentioned that it's backed by Bain Capital, if I'm not mistaken, and that you really are a startup. And so I think, as you mentioned, Mutual Group, when I hear Mutual Group, I think of a company that's been around for a century or more, but this is different. And really, it's to help some of those older organizations modernize, both on the technology side, but also from an operations perspective as well. Is that correct?
Yes, Rob. So Mutual Group is only 2 years in making. We have our founding member, as I was talking about, GuideOne Insurance. That's a very established insurance company based out of Des Moines, Iowa, with business in all states with 5 different product lines. But I agree with one thing you were saying. So most insurance companies are 100 plus years old. GuideOne is not that old, but the resilience that the insurance companies have shared over the generation is what makes the industry really strong. But mutual companies, being small in size, don't have the same capacity, the talent, the know how to compete with the bigger players. At the same time, acceleration in AI. And I know no interview or podcast can be completed without AI as the word being used many times. But if you look at the speed of change, with the AI coming in, it's even increasingly becoming important for the mutual companies to look for the depth in technology transformation, the insurance transformation, the insurance experience they have from their generation of being there. So mutual group is there to bridge that gap of bringing the right technology expertise, bringing the right underwriting claims experience, bringing the operational strength to prepare, help, support mutual companies so they can actually be profitable, competitive, and grow like some of their competitors.
That's cool. Very cool. I want to dive into AI because certainly, my background is in software development. Been writing code since 1991. That's when I started coding. Fell in love with engineering. Love building product. Ironically, the first industry that AI is disrupting is the one that you and I fell in love with, which is engineering and product engineering. But coders that built AI trained it on how to write code first so they could accelerate their coding. And now we have a very, different landscape. Andrew Yang wrote a very, how can we put it, inflammatory or, he wrote a very strong letter that he posted online about the future of work and automation. Of course, he's been calling for universal basic income for a long time, but let's just chat about what you think the actual practical impact in the next year of AI is going to be, because I'm in the middle of a bunch of AI implementations at insurance companies, and they're taking quite a long time to get right. It is actually not easy. It's not fast. It's not simple. There's some, challenges where you have to, do a lot of work validating data. You have to do a lot of work validating models. Can you walk me through what you think the actual impact's going to be? I mean, it's a very old, multi-thousand-year-old industry, insurance, and we're taking a technology that's functionally 75 years old. If you look back at when artificial intelligence was first coined as a phrase, roughly 70 plus years ago. And now we're in full tilt deployment of tools across the entire tech stack, and it is changing some things. I'd just love for you to hear, let's talk about practical reality, what you think's changing and what do you think is coming?
Sure. So first of all, I would say that in insurance specifically, we cannot move fast and break things. So the whole industry is formed to be deliberately risk managed, and we have to protect the trust of the customers. So AI in general is more about operational capabilities, not a science experiment. And when I think of insurance specifically, James, it's important that what mutual companies are doing in the space of AI is for member protection. Now, to your question about AI in software engineering and then AI into insurance business, even at the mutual group, we have started to use some of AI capabilities in our own IT space. A lot of IT services products have AI now built into it. I wouldn't say that it is mature enough to get the true benefit, as you probably would have heard from some of the articles that are out there. McKinsey has talked about it. MIT has a report about it. While AI does a really good job in software development, where it fails, it takes quite a bit of effort to figure that out. So I think that the AI part of software engineering has matured enough to explore it, to start to use it. But can it be in an autopilot mode? Can it be in Tesla's terms, full self-drive mode? No, not yet. It's still, in my mind, a couple of years out. Now, bringing AI into business operations, there's a lot of use cases. Industry is filled with paper, documents, data, a lot of it. And AI has a unique ability to pass through all of them. So at Mutual Group itself, we're working on several cases of AI that are not very different than what others are doing. But we are doing it very thoughtfully. We are doing it very methodically. We are embedding AI into our business processes. We are focused on use of AI where automation could not succeed. The RPA from 5 years back. We are using AI in our first notice of loss process. We are using AI into underwriting submission, but with a measured view to make sure that first we are bringing operational efficiency. Then we are thinking of AI as, let's say, assistant to underwriters, claim adjusters, before we start to think about AI actually replacing or changing the whole insurance industry.
I think you're on mute, James.
Yeah, James couldn't.
Sorry. One thing I noticed even in cars, like General Motors in 2013 said that all their fleet would be self-driving by 2018. And it's been 8 more years. And I'll tell you this, Super Cruise sucks because I actually had it on one of my cars. Now, I've got a Tesla Model Y now, and it is freaking amazing, and it still makes life-threatening mistakes. So, it tried pulling me into oncoming traffic the other day, and I'm like, no, I don't want to die today. Not today, Satan. Not today. I'm not doing that. So, I've noticed that the projects just do actually take a while because of data validation. There is low-hanging fruit. There is stuff we can implement quickly, but I think we've got a ways to go to make sure it works for our regulated industry. Rob?
So, Vineet, I kind of want to go back. You mentioned GuideOne as kind of the first core member, right, of the mutual group. So using them as an example, right, knowing that your value proposition is to bring together many mutuals over time and help them, improve their efficiency, both in the technology side, the operation side. Maybe you can kind of walk through, like, what does that diagnosis look like? Are you taking over their technology stack and running it? Or are you migrating it onto a new one? Are you creating a new one? Just maybe kind of walk through the technology piece vis-a-vis as you bring on GuideOne and hope to bring on other member companies along the way.
Sure. So, Rob, GuideOne is our founding members. They are very purpose-driven, mission-driven organization focused on religious or nonprofits. So when the mutual group was formed in collaboration with GuideOne, we did have people from GuideOne Insurance, technology platforms that the business was using. That became our starting point. But as part of TMG, we invested, or we continue to invest in technology transformation. We did a lot to do employee productivity improvements. We are doing tech modernization, tech upgrades. As we are doing those things, we are keeping in mind that the scale for us has to be a multi-tenant, multi-member scale. So while the starting stack is what GuideOne has, a lot of decisions that we have made, especially, since I've started over, roughly a year back, we have GuideWire for GuideOne Insurance, but we are exploring what would make sense for the broader slew of mutual companies that we'll be supporting. We are implementing new capabilities for document generation, a new digital platform, a new data platform, and we are thinking of multi-tenancy in all of those. But as you know, we are a very heavily regulated industry. We still have to make sure that data integrity, data separation, data security is at the top of our mind. So we continue to make advancement in modernization, in transformation, in the technology space, making sure that the underlying guardrails around regulation and compliance is kept in mind, even in the space of AI. When we are doing AI use cases, we are doing it in a very responsible way that will work for GuideOne Insurance, will help tremendously benefit the business operations for GuideOne, as well as underwriting and claims capabilities, but would also allow us to scale these capabilities for other mutual companies as they will come on board.
So you're Chief Information and Technology Officer. Those are usually two separate roles. How has that played out for you? And like, where do you spend a lot of your time? Are you focused on data security? Are you focused on application deployment, development? What does your mix really look like as far as areas of focus and where you think you can get the biggest bang for your buck?
So we being a small organization is not at a point to talk about the different divisions, different technology separations. But as I have my team, my leadership team fully in place, my focus is spread across different elements of IT. So I do spend, let's say, roughly a fifth of my time around the IT operations, infrastructure, security. I have a really good leader who is running that area. I spend a fifth of my time around key business applications, our core business applications. I have two really good leaders running all the business applications, including data, APIs, infrastructure. We are an API-driven ecosystem. And I usually talk about us to be very embedded as I talk about AI. So it's very important that the data is clean, organized, accessible through APIs so that AI itself can be embedded into the business workflow. That's exactly how we are structured, how we are scaling. And then I do spend, I'll say, a fifth of my time in future growth and strategy, a fifth of my time around multi-member platforms. So I'd say there's a few different things, and I'm very blessed to have a really good team that is there today to manage, run day-to-day aspects, but also be a thought partner to me as we think of our future state.
That's great. Yeah, I'd say it's a really hard job, the CTO, CIO job, because you're supporting sales. You get in because everybody wants the CTO involved in the sale. You're supporting executive leadership decisions. You're working with all the C-level staff, supporting their initiatives. Then you have your own initiatives of upgrading your infrastructure. And then you're trying to actually do transformation projects. So you end up with, you really need about 5 or 6 hands, not just 2. So it's pretty challenging. Rob?
So Vineet, I'm really curious, given your background and you've worked at so many large financial institutions in the past, and now you're bringing that expertise to some of the small to mid-sized companies, but in this vehicle of kind of a startup at the Mutual Group. Admittedly, you've got some strong backing. So maybe there's 2 or 3 like key lessons that you've learned or insights that you've gained over the years that you bring to your current role. Just curious if you could share those with our audience.
Yeah. So Rob, I think the opportunity that I've got over past 20 years from something as small as a startup that I founded, where I was the only employee when I founded it, and growing it to a little bigger in size, to companies like Fidelity Investments, 100,000 employees, to Swiss Re, to Intact Financial. It gave me a really good perspective on what's needed to operate and grow business at different scales and different sizes. I was very fortunate to be the CTO for IptiQ that was founded by Swiss Re as a direct life insurer. That gave me an opportunity to build end-to-end digital platform as a greenfield solution, and an opportunity to work for Intact that has very established culture, systems, platforms. So what is needed to scale is what I bring to the table, but what is needed to be stable, governed, and not fall out of line of a regulated structure is what I bring on the other side. Some of the learnings I'll say is that there's no easy answer. There's no quick success. It takes meticulous planning, thoughtful execution. I also say it's the same in terms of AI. AI is not a panacea. It's not going to solve your data issues if your data platform issues. If you don't have organized, if you don't have a knowledge repository, it's like garbage in, garbage out. So everything that I learned by making mistakes or learning the hard way is what I can avoid at the Mutual Group or even in my previous place. And that's how we have been able to accelerate, grow faster, as I've seen what has worked before. I have great leaders, as I said, who have seen what works well. And together with our business partners who knows what's needed for the business with technology expertise that me and my team brings to the table, I think it's a deadly combination that we have at TMG.
That's great. Well, let's kind of wrap with this last question. Like, looking forward, I always like to know what people are excited about, because I'm excited about vibe coding. I'm excited about machine learning models getting more accurate at predicting outcomes for insurance. I'm excited at continued cloud adoption. Like, it's really made a big deal that finally major insurance companies are good with getting on the cloud. Tell me what you're really fired up about. What close out with the future and what motivates you?
Yes, James. So I'm also very enthusiastic about vibe coding. I still feel there's a little bit more time it will take. I know the SaaS companies are still debating what their future is going to be. So we know AI is here. We know AI is going to stay. But when I think specifically about insurance, I think we will see a shift towards more personalized insurance products. Now, 10 years back, we were talking about parametric insurance because more and more environmental parameters were available to make decisions. That's great. 5 years back, we started to talk about embedded insurance. And you see, go to Amazon, there's embedding of insurance. Go point of sales insurance was being sold because the data was available to make those small risk decisions. I think the same thing is going to expand into bigger scales where insurance policies, even the large ones, can be built, can be written with much more personalization, because AI is helping bring a lot of data, a lot of information together. So we may have insurance products coming down the road that will be sold by an hour, by a day, by a month. I know Tesla, so telematic in auto insurance is already kind of doing some of it for past many years. But when you look at, high risk sports, do I have to buy an insurance if I'm a skydiver for the whole year, or can I buy something only when that event is happening? The insurance companies can price the risk better and can personalize it to the needs of the consumer.
Yeah. Well, mass personalization is possible when you have an intelligent brain sitting on top of all the data and on top of the user interaction. I mean, it is, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it happen in customer support applications right now. You've started to see it creep into phone systems because when you dial, they're like, "Oh, hey, James, how are you? We've identified you by your phone number, and we see that you have a current account and you have a flight today." I mean, that kind of like really hyper personalization of a phone tree and phone menu, when done well, is a remarkable experience. And so I have a lot of hope for that. I think it could be a really good thing. All right, Rob, any closing comments or question, Rob?
So, Vineet, just if folks are interested in learning more, where can they find you? Where's the best way to reach out?
So I would say reach out to us on our website, themutualgroup.com. If you want to connect with me, my LinkedIn handle, Vinban1, VINBAN, number 1. And I'm usually quite responsive and, would definitely love to talk more about this topic or any of the topics in the space of technology. However, I do feel that the technology itself is not going to be the key or the primary differentiator. It's what happens around technology. Number of tools doesn't make a big difference. The carriers who will win are not the carriers who will have the most AI models, AI tools. The winners will be the ones with the strongest foundation. The winners will be the one that brings, in my mind, trust, governance, and the ability to combine human judgment with technology or these new, I won't call it shiny objects at this time, as we have already passed the path where AI would have felt like a shiny object. But I do feel that within the insurance space, trust and governance is extremely important.
Nice. All right. Well, look, it's been a great conversation. We are at time, but we really appreciate you joining on. I appreciate the hard job that it actually is to be a CIO and CTO in the insurance sector and to bring the whole organization along. So thank you for your dedication to the business. It's also just really wonderful to have you here today for another show. So, Rob, thank you as always.
Likewise, great conversation as always, James.
And Vineet, thanks for joining on today.
Thank you, James. And I hope the next time you come to New York City, we'll welcome you with warmer weather.
Yes. Yeah, and I'll come up to Westchester and come see you and say hi. That would be great to visit. So thank you for your time today. And thanks to all of our listeners out in listener land. This has been another great episode of the InsurTech Geek Podcast. Until next time, enjoy the ride and geek out.
The InsurTech Geek Podcast is all about technology that's transforming and disrupting the insurance world. Hosted by James Benham at jamesbenham.com with co-host Rob Galbraith at endofinsurance.com. The show takes listeners on a journey through insurance tech. So enjoy the ride and geek out.